You didn't hear what I said. Somebody in here owes my ass $100.
Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando. That's Corey. And today we are doing 1994's Blue Chips.
I'm just kind of nodding my head.
Just nodding your head? That's all you have to start?
It was much better than I remembered it. I mentioned to my special lady friend when I was getting ready to watch it yesterday that I really wasn't looking forward to it. I remember seeing it when it came out and I was like the biggest Penny Hardaway fan. So when that came out, I was losing my fucking mind to go see that movie. And I remember watching it and I was just kind of like, ugh. And then I moved on. And after rewatching it, I have to say, it wasn't as bad as I remember. There are definitely some issues.
Were you meh about it because Penny Hardaway plays a bitch in this movie?
Dude, I don't... Okay, if we're going to jump right into this, Penny Hardaway's acting range is right in line with, ordering drive-thru. That's as far as he can get with reading lines. That was fucking painful to watch. Him trying to interact with somebody like Nick Nolte, who is a good actor.
Oh, absolutely.
And who was legitimately playing this character.
Yes.
He was, basically Bobby Knight. But owning that character.
Yep.
And having to have that back and forth in a really, what was supposed to be like a really conflicted, aggressive scene about Butch wanting to go home because he's homesick. Dude, that's about as close to stepping on your own dick as I think you can get.
I just pictured...
That was horrible.
I just pictured during that scene, there's somebody just off camera, like whispering the lines to Penny, and he just repeats them as they're getting fed to him. Like, isn't there somebody you can call?
There's someone you can call to see if I left school, my mom keep her house and job?
I think it's so bad. See, you have a guy over there whispering to Penny Hardaway his lines. I have a guy who's doing like the basketball slide feet, playing defense, trying to keep Nick Nolte in the scene because he is trying desperately to run away.
Well, let's kick this off. This movie, and again, I haven't seen this movie in forever. But when I first saw it, I loved it. Because I was, at the time, huge NBA fan. I don't know anybody who liked the NBA who didn't like Penny Hardaway.
Right.
Huge Shaq fan. And this is Shaq when he was ripped.
This was young, fast Shaq Diesel.
Yeah, this wasn't like Shrek Shaq like he is now. Yeah. Like this was oh my...
I don't know, Ernie, but too good.
This was when they said like
he ain't just big, Pete. He's quick.
They weren't lying. That dude was a giant who was fast as hell.
See, you hit the nail on the head. Saying he's big and can move, that's just being like, yeah, Corey's Caucasian. No, I'm like super white. Shaq is a giant and is fast as hell.
Exactly.
Dude, he's an amazing athlete. He really is.
Absolutely. And
it's
I think
that is an actual human being.
I think a lot of people forget how great of an athlete he was at that time. Because everybody just remembers like old Shaq falling down and just posting up under the hoop and just jamming it. And that's all. That was his whole game. Like early on, he was phenomenal. He was a freak.
Dude, he'd grab the rebound and lead a break.
Yeah.
He'd run full court, dunk it, run back and block your next shot and do the same shit again. It was crazy.
Yeah. So let's get into this because the cast, first of all, I'll say that the cast was amazing.
Yes, cast is very good.
From the cameos by college coaches, professional basketball players, like all that stuff. That was amazing that they just peppered all that stuff in there.
Every living Celtic.
Yeah, exactly.
I texted you when we were watching this, when I was watching it, And I'm like, dude, this director was a huge Celtics fan.
Yeah.
Because Bob Cousy has more lines than almost anybody in this fucking movie. Which, by the way, he deserved it because he did an incredible job.
He did a really good job.
And what was it? Larry Bird. Larry Bird has more lines in this than Space Jam, and he's only in it for 5 minutes. It was crazy.
Exactly. So Nick Nolte does a phenomenal job in this movie. And he plays the coach Pete Bell. The movie opens up with him going nuts on his very bad basketball team.
Yes.
Who is we'll say is mediocre at best. He's in the midst of having the worst season, his first losing season ever. And apparently there had been a point shaving incident that Ed O'Neill in this movie, who plays the reporter, I love Ed O'Neill. And I've said it before about movies, like, if you can make me hate a character because of the writing or the acting, you've done a good job.
Exactly.
I fucking hated Ed O'Neill in this movie.
Dude, thank you. And it wasn't even like, I didn't understand necessarily the point of him. Because all that point shaving exposition, that was going to come out naturally, where you didn't need his faux Woodward and Bernstein routine.
Do you think it's fair to say that your inability to get the program back on track is strictly related to recruiting problems that started 4 years ago after the alleged point shaving incident?
Ed O'Neill is a reporter that's bringing up a point shaving scandal that literally happened 2 years ago.
Yep.
At a meaningless press conference after a loss. Like, that's what started me getting pissed off, because I hate sports reporters anyway, but that was the lead into, like, oh, screw you, I don't like this guy. There's a little bit of exposition after this press conference, because he goes to visit his ex-wife, who obviously is still, like, in love with him, whatever, but he's a coach and he's a lunatic, so he's hard to live with, so they got divorced.
She's in love with him, but he's in love with the game.
Yeah, that's right. So he visits his ex-wife after the game to basically, I don't know, get a pep talk and maybe watch some game film, because he goes to his wife's house to watch game film.
He feels bad and he wanted a rub and tug. That's all he was looking for.
But she...
and of course, game film is foreplay, obviously.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But he runs the cleanest program in the country. You know, she says...
You've won 2 national championships. Good. This is 2 more than most coaches dream of. You've won 8 conference titles. I don't call this losing. You've got great kids. The cleanest program in America. They all graduate.
Makes him feel better. He leaves. Then they cut to, like, the next scene. It shows that he actually cares for the team. He pulls Tony aside, sees how things are going. Right. Thought that his girlfriend was pregnant. Turns out she wasn't. He's failing TV. And which leads to one of the funniest moments. Nick Nolte has a lot of really good, like, one-liners where it's typical coach.
Oh, totally. He embodies a coach.
Yeah, because he's not trying to be funny, but the lines are hilarious.
Right.
Get a tutor for Tony for TV, all right? Freddie! Take Tony, take him to a pharmacy and get him some prophylactics.
I just love the fact that he used the word prophylactics. That made me laugh.
Yeah. Oh, it was great. I'm going to say something, if I can, very quickly about Nick Nolte's character in this. He's the bad guy.
Okay.
He pulls Tony aside, right?
Yep.
And that gives you that, like, oh, he does care about his team and blah, blah, blah. He's only pulling Tony aside and only cares about Tony because Tony's the only player he got.
Yes.
He's not talking to those 11 other dudes on that team. Not one of them.
Okay. Now
walks right to his office. Then he lies during the recruiting, which I get it. Coaches say some wild shit, but he's still saying whatever he has to say to get these kids to come to his school.
Okay.
He's a Catholic in Chicago.
You know, I'm Catholic too.
He's Baptist, First Baptist in French Lick, Indiana.
Because they're racist.
Kind of just pushes aside that racism.
First Baptist or Southern Baptist?
First Baptist, of course.
Well, thank the good Lord, Pete. We don't think too much of Southern Baptists around here. If you catch my drift.
And then he's something else when he goes to visit Shaq.
Pentecostal? Hell, I grew up in the Pentecostal church.
Then he actually does the one thing he says he will never do.
Yeah.
Simply just to win and hold on to his own ego. He's the bad guy.
Well, see, I disagree with that because, and here's why. So after that scene with Tony, and they just don't show him talking to the other players, but okay, they don't show it. So yes, Tony's the best player they have on the team. So yeah, that's who I'm talking to too. Screw the rest of the guys. But they show him with the AD, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he basically says, listen, there's 2 reasons why I won't cheat.
There's 2 reasons I'm incapable of cheating. You want to hear them?
Tell me.
1, if I break the rules and I get caught, I'll get kicked out of coaching.
And what's the second reason?
I might not get caught.
But they're having this postseason coaches meeting to discuss how they fell so far so fast and how they lost recruits. The answer, under the table recruiting, giving money to players, giving whatever they want to their parents, and yada, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. Nick Nolte, for everything that's been said and done regarding Nick Nolte in this movie up until now, has been he runs a clean program. Yep. He hasn't cheated. The only thing in his career that's come up is this point shaving scandal, which we find out later in the movie he really didn't know anything about and thought it was all bullshit. That's why I say that he's not a bad guy. He's basically forced into this because he knows that, and his coaching staff knows that, yeah, is it a pain in the ass and you got to deal with a lot of bullshit to pay off players to come to your school? Yes. But they're all going to get fired if they have another bad season. Because
true, but again, do you get fired playing the game cleanly and respecting the game, or do you hold on to your job? Again, that's all selfish reasons. You want your legacy to be preserved. You want to keep winning. It's not to teach kids that are pretty good and just need that extra coaching how to play basketball for the love of the game. And I was on board with you because this is all from Nick Nolte's perspective.
Yeah.
It's very rarely that you're the bad guy in your own story.
Yeah.
So I'll give him that. And he has an incredible arc because he does start here where he's such a good guy.
Yep.
But in the story that we're catching him in, he has hit his rock bottom to the point where his own ego and fear of legacy overshadow his morals.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's when he turns into the bad guy. And like, excuse me, like I said, I was on board with Nick Nolte being the good guy and kind of like that, you're forced into this, until JT Walsh's character, Happy, the booster, gives him that speech about why they're paying him.
These athletes generate millions of dollars for the university. What do they get? Nothing.
We owe them this money.
He's fucking right.
No, he's absolutely right.
The only reason Nick Nolte goes along with it is because his own ego. He doesn't give a fuck about any of these kids unless it's to help him.
At this point, yes, but does it make him a bad guy? No, it makes him a human. Like he got into coaching he got into coaching for all the right reasons. You know, he had won for eons because he was doing it the right way and teaching kids the game of basketball and yada yada yada, teaching them to be better men and all that. And then he hit a point where, that's not cutting it anymore. You need to do more than just teach basketball. You need athletes. I will say this, because you enter Happy, Nick Nolte goes through this, should I, shouldn't I kind of, internal fight. They identify these 2 players that they absolutely need to turn this program around, which is Penny Hardaway and Ricky Rowe.
Ricky Rowe, the date rapist racist.
So things escalate right when they identify those 2 players. Things escalate incredibly quickly. on the recruiting trail, because Butch McRae, which is Penny Hardaway's mother, wants a new house, a job, etc., for her son to commit. He goes to French Lick to recruit Ricky Rowe. And again, during this whole thing, he's trying to do it right. Like, he basically tells Penny Hardaway's mom, like, yeah, that's not going to happen.
Miss McCrae, do you know how the NCSA regulations work?
But he goes to French Lick, and Ricky Rowe and his dad want a new tractor.
Tractor, huh?
Yeah. And straight cash, homie. Like,
that's all. That the dad just wanted the tractor.
Yep.
Ricky Rowe gives this speech in front of all the coaches.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. So, first of all, for a group of people all conspiring to do some illegal shit, they talk about it very loudly in very public places.
Well, I actually wrote a note.
All of them.
I wrote a note that these guys are really bad at cheating.
Our football team, ranked in the top 10 for the last 8 years, has got a linebacker, a tailback, an offensive tackle, 2 safeties, and a quarterback, all recruited by friends of the program.
Motherfucker, there's like 300 people around this bar.
Yeah.
And you're screaming about how you're paying football players.
Yes. And
what are you doing? And then Penny Hardaway talks to the coaches about it. Ricky Rowe jumps in.
I figure a white blue chip athlete like myself deserves something extra, about 30 grand. Like to have it in cash, and just toss in one of those gym bags you got.
First of all, let me tell you something, white blue chip athlete. You're a 6'11" power forward, okay? Your upswing is Kevin Love. That's all you're earning. You feel me? Like, you are no better than Kevin Love. I don't give a fuck what your range is.
Yeah. Well,
so,
and
then you bring the racist shit into that when you actually get on the court.
Yeah.
Dude, they're gonna Rudy T you. They're gonna pop you in the fucking face. I hated his character.
Oh, so did I. But, well,
I hated him.
He, in his defense, he only asked for 30 grand.
Oh.
He positioned himself as like this, this white blue chip athlete, and such as myself, and he then undercuts himself by only asking for 30 grand. Like, the tractor had to be 120.
Well, it's 1994.
So he just needs
30 grand is a lot more back then.
He just needs some walking around money.
Dude,
but I'll say this, because he runs into, and they don't really describe the relationship. He's a friend of Nick Nolte's that says, hey, I got this great, athlete.
Wow, hell, the kid never even played ball in high school. He went into Army, played in Europe. He grew 8 inches in 2 years. He showed up at a gym recently with some pros, kicked butt big time.
What they have to do to get to the, I don't know, airport hangar or wherever they're playing basketball at, but he goes to see Shaq and is like, basically what we said about him. Holy shit, look at this dude, he's a freak.
That scene was so stupid. Nobody's running through there are alligators. What are you doing?
Exactly.
I'm in my loafers as Coach Pete Bell and my Dockers, and I'm just going to take a jog through the fucking swamp.
So I'm going to say
Bitch,
this.
please. They don't have a road to Algiers anywhere.
Not even
That's what you're telling me?
Not even a dirt road?
Right?
I'll say
Can't
this.
ride a horse?
2 things about Shaq's character. 1, Neon Bedeau. Great name.
Dude, who names their kid Neon?
It's just a great name. I don't care. I love the name.
That should have been his story, is Children's Services took him away from his parents because they named him Neon.
Because apparently they fed him human growth hormone because he's 7'6" and like shredded. But I'll say this. You watch college basketball. I watch college basketball. And back then, I was an enormous college basketball fan.
Mm-hmm.
This movie doesn't exist because in 1994, because Shaq's character wants nothing. They try to give him a car. He doesn't want it. He's like,
yeah, what's up, bro?
Congratulations. You're the owner of a brand new Lexus.
I didn't ask for this.
I just deliver them. I don't know nothing.
If Pete Bell just recruited Shaq, they win the national title. He doesn't need racist Ricky Rowe, the triple R, or Penny Hardaway. He doesn't need those two players because he's got Tony playing the position he needs, who's the best player on the team. You pair him up with Shaq, that's at least a Final Four appearance.
That was like the biggest note I had for the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And if you want proof of that, all you have to see is the game they play against Bobby Knight's Indiana Hoosier team.
Yep.
It's Shaq. Penny hits maybe 2 or 3 shots.
Yes.
Barely passes the ball at all for a point guard.
Yeah.
Ricky Rowe, he hits maybe 2 shots the entire game.
And
Shaq is literally the entire game just dunking.
Exactly.
That's it.
You could get me and you throwing it up to him out there, and we'd beat Indiana.
All I need is $10,000, coach.
Here's the thing I didn't like about the movie. So you have Jenny, Coach Pete Bell's ex-wife, right? She's a school teacher, like a kindergarten teacher, but she used to tutor all of his athletes when they were, when the program was huge. And he brings Shaq to her and says, listen, this kid is special. He's a good kid. Tutor him. It takes her 10 seconds to get convinced to do it because she immediately says, no, I'm not doing this ever again. And then 2 seconds later, oh, he's lifting a kid in the air. He seems like a good guy. So I'll do it.
Well, I like how she breaks it down too, because she's like, can he rebound?
Yeah. Yeah. So.
And her reasoning too was like.
For you?
Yeah.
No. For Neon? Maybe. For Tony? Yes.
So she wants to see Tony succeed as much as anybody else.
Yeah. And he gets his ex-wife to tutor Shaq so he could pass this SAT, and not pass it, but score above a 700, which will get him enrolled into the school.
Yep.
She has such a problem with Nick Nolte. She asks him a couple of times, like, are you cheating? How did you get these players in? And, he vehemently denies it. She's like, why are you getting so defensive? Whatever. But she's like,
because I'm a guy and I just got caught lying.
Yeah.
So.
And he's, she's like, oh, you can't cheat. So disgusting. Let me tell you something, Jenny. Betting Neon $100 that he gets over a 700 on his SAT is a fucking NCAA violation. And you, ma'am, are a hypocrite.
I'll make you a bet for real. I bet you $100 that you can't score 700 points on your SATs.
I'll score 700 in my sleep. For $100, I'll score 800.
And you're about to screw up your bet too, because he tells you after he gets 800, somebody owes my ass $100, and everybody just keeps going, oh, Shaq.
Hold up. You didn't hear what I said. Somebody here owes my ass $100.
Nick Nolte finally breaks down, goes to see Happy. Happy lets him know.
I screw a hell of a lot better when we're winning, don't you?
That guy plays such a slimeball character so well.
He is so good. He is so good at playing those characters. It's amazing. So they decide, they put the whole thing in motion. All the players get everything they want. I have a question because, this is where I wrote the note, like, they don't know how to cheat. Because everybody's, for as much as they're trying to hide everything, everybody's screaming about what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
But how in the hell does Ed O'Neill's character, the reporter, find out about all the cash and gifts, okay?
Not Pete Bell.
Are you shitting me? He paid for him, baby. I can smell it.
Nolte has been clean for his entire career, is what we know.
Yep.
But you could smell that he cheated this time? And then, how does he have the pictures? Like, he just took still frames from the movie and had them on his computer like, she just got a house. Here's the inside of her office and where she works. And this is the bag of cash that fucking Ricky Rowe got. Like, it's a picture like inside the bag of money.
And remember, kids, this is 94. There were no camera phones. That did not exist.
So
there had to be like a tourist going by with professional gear.
I want to know,
take that shot.
because he has pictures of all this shit when it happened. But this all happened before they committed to the program. because the scene is him ripping the sheet off of the, the AP, whatever, where they commit their commitment sheets. I commit to this school, yada, yada. And he's like, oh, they cheated. I could smell it. Here, you know how I could smell it? Let me take you in my office and show you the pictures of people getting shit. We already talked about Penny Hardaway, Butch, going to Nick Nolte.
They mentioned before when Pete Bell goes to Chicago to recruit Penny, he's talking to some of the coaches during the basketball game Penny's playing, and they mentioned they might not be able to get him in academically. The priest, was that Louis Gossett Jr., by the way?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Such a great little cameo.
Yeah.
He mentions that he's had some academic issues in the past.
Yeah.
Dude, this kid, if they got a tutor Neon to get 700, this fucking kid is not even coming close to spelling his name right on the SATs. There's no fucking way. An 18-year-old male who grew up on the south side of Chicago is not making a deal like that worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you include the job, the house, whatever the fuck. The furniture, I'm sure you had to provide. And you have the fucking balls to come in and ask me, do you think my mom would lose her job and house if I took off? Yes, stupid. Is this your first fucking day out in society? That's insane.
Apparently, you are Happy, because Nick Nolte calls Happy, and Happy literally says the same thing.
Arrangement my ass. If that son of a bitch is unhappy, it's your job to make him happy.
And
you're fucking right.
The best line is Nick Nolte hangs up the phone because, like, now he's in the thick of it all.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He's just like,
better be at practice on Monday.
Dude, Penny Hardaway's entire character drove me insane. Like, between his character just being a feckless turd.
Yes.
And Ricky Rowe being the racist date rapist.
Yes.
It's just like, fuck, dude. Like, you are recruiting morons. And again, to your point, and you got to keep going back to it, all you needed was Shaq.
Yes.
Who clearly could pass the SATs. He just didn't give a fuck before.
Exactly. So they
stupid.
Happy and Nolte get into this, argument. He tells him about Tony shaving points. They go back, they watch the tape. The whole coaching staff is pissed off about it. The one dude is like, dude, that's my guy. Yeah. Don't talk shit. Tony's a good kid. He didn't do it. They find out. Nick Nolte goes to his dorm room, assaults him. Finds out
that was such a good scene. I love the line where he tells him, what was it? You took the purest thing in your life and corrupted it.
Yep.
You took the purest thing in your life and you corrupted it. And for what?
If you watch, like, they show Tony real quick sort of breaking down and crying, as you do. And they flash back to Nick Nolte, and his face, like, it hits him like, oh shit, that's what I did.
Yeah.
That is phenomenal.
No, that whole scene is great because of that. Because, he's chastising Tony for cheating. Meanwhile, he's literally doing the same thing.
Yep.
And in that moment, he realizes it, because the next scene is cut to him going to Jenny's house because he wants to talk to her about it. She's all pissed off because she, finds out that he has been cheating and yada, yada.
Because, by the way, snitches get stitches, assistant coach.
It's a friend of the program.
Happy is a friend of the program.
Come on, Jenny. I mean, you know how things are.
Yes. Who the fuck are you running your mouth to, dog?
Again, they're horrible at cheating.
Everybody's just fucking chirping. Jesus. It's probably the coaches that took the pictures and sent them to Ed O'Neill.
Probably. Well, here's the thing. And this is what I didn't like. Well, I guess it ties into the movie because, he realizes what he did. He feels bad about it. He wants to come clean, like, now. And he comes clean to Jenny first. But in my head, I'm like, dude, I'm a coach. I'm making so much damn money. Like, this is how my brain's working. And I'm like, I'm making so much money. These kids are going to be here for a couple of years. They're going to go to the NBA. And then I'm just going to get a whole new batch of recruits next year and the year after. and who really, at the end of the day, this is basketball. This isn't, we're not curing cancer here. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that serious in my estimation. So when she says,
You look me straight in the eye, and you lied to me.
I'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. You obviously saw Happy with the players. Why wouldn't you just pass the buck on Happy? Like, I didn't know about this. I literally just found out that Happy paid off Tony 2 years ago, and that point shaving thing was real.
Yeah, sometimes secrets in a relationship are healthy.
It's okay. In that situation, lie, my friend.
Not everybody needs to know every thought you have.
That's
all I'm saying.
Again, in the arc of his character, this all makes sense because they go to play Indiana. It's their first game of the season. Bob Knight's there, and what a perfect coach and team to play for the final game or the final scene of the movie. Because basically Nick Nolte is Bobby Knight during this movie.
Yeah. Their contrast is just right there.
But after they win, he has this attack of conscience that's basically been gnawing at him now since he talked to Tony. And
the best meltdown monologue ever.
Oh my God. Like that whole scene, the best part is he goes into the locker room and basically just says, listen,
the rules don't make much sense, but I believe in rules. Now, some of us broke them. I broke them. I can't do this. I can't win like this.
Yep. And then he goes, and obviously Ed O'Neill.
Coach.
Yeah, Ed.
I got to ask this question or I wouldn't be doing my job.
Looks like Neon Bordeaux got a Lexus. And then Nick Nolte, that's where it starts the snowball. And Nick Nolte goes into the...
For Christ's sake, it wasn't an automobile. I mean, it was a fully loaded Lexus.
Happy with...
We got him a nuclear surfboard!
What
the fuck does that mean?
With one of the worst lines in the movie.
No, Coach, it was a nuclear surfboard, remember?
Like,
he does that a couple times, because then he, says...
You will never coach in America again, you got that? Why don't you try Bulgaria? Here they're looking for wimps like you.
Happy goes on this whole thing because he obviously at first thinks that, Nick Nolte's doing the...
lie right.
Lie right to you, but you're telling the truth.
The bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off.
Plausible deniability. But no, he starts playing into it like, no, I think we bought him a nuclear surfboard. And then he realizes that Nick Nolte isn't doing that, and he's actually just gonna bury he not only buries Happy, the basketball program, he also buries the football program.
There goes Happy heading for the cash machine. Oh yeah, he's gonna get himself a middle linebacker. That guy's got the best players money can buy.
Happy and his little group of cronies around him.
Yeah.
Like from the nuclear surfboard line when they're all like, yeah, man, you got him. Like, Happy on the back.
All right, man.
The rest of Happy shit is why people hate white people. Like those guys are why white dudes got such a bad rap. Period. That's it.
But then he goes into, and you're absolutely right, but that's what he goes into, Nick Nolte goes into, like, now I'm going to sit down. Like, he's pacing, and then he sits down. He was like, he gets into the whole, this isn't why I coach. This isn't even about basketball.
Such a good monologue.
It's about money. And, my favorite team, this team that won tonight, this wasn't my best coaching job. My best coaching job was last season when we went 14-15, and they played their asses off, and they gave me everything that they had and played to their maximum potential. Like, he goes into that whole thing, and you're just like, holy shit! Like, even as a spectator watching the movie, you're like, God, this is freaking fantastic. Like,
it was so ahead of its time with everything that's happening now with the NCAA.
Oh, absolutely.
Paying players and their likeness rights, shit like that.
Yeah.
This movie was so far ahead of its time.
Absolutely. And
that monologue is legit.
Oh, yeah.
It's fucking legit.
One of the most well-written, well-acted monologues that... any of the movies that we've done, but of any of the movies that I've seen. I mean, obviously there's some epic monologues done in movies, but this one is right up there. And then you get it just Nick Nolte. Nick Nolte is the perfect person, the perfect actor to portray this role.
Yeah, this was because throughout most of the movie, he's yelling. Like, he starts every sentence with "God damn it."
Yeah. God damn it. Oh, hell. What the fuck are you guys doing out there?
And then you move over to this monologue, and it's just so dialed back. It's so reserved.
Yep.
Like, this is the performance of a coach. Like this, Gene Hackman in Hoosiers.
Yep.
These are the performances that Al Pacino was so desperately trying to mimic in Any Given Sunday.
Yes.
With his Life in Inches monologue.
Yeah.
He tried so hard and it just wasn't even close. These guys fucking nailed it.
Absolutely.
Nailed it.
I want to know one thing about Nick Nolte. Even in his when he dials it back and he's just talking, he's still got the growl. He's still got that, like, the best job I did was last season. Like, it's that gritty, like, I love that about him.
Awesome.
But it goes to the end of he leaves the stadium. He sees some kids playing basketball, and it goes back. That's basically the end of the movie. He starts coaching them on how to shoot a jumper and yada yada. But God, I love this movie. Like, take away Penny Hardaway's bad acting and a couple of they're NBA players, so it's like whatever. And and some of the college coaches, not the best actors in the world.
Geez, Penny was so bad in this, they made a marionette puppet to do his commercials for him. And made Chris Rock be the voice of it. He's just in the commercial shooting and like, little Penny. That's how bad of an actor Penny was. But anyway, you're right. You're 100% correct. The movie was great.
This movie was fantastic. And, 26 years later, does it stand the test of time? I say absolutely. The only way it wouldn't have stood the test of time is if this movie was shot or written and greenlit before they changed the length of the shorts. Like, that's the only way this movie wouldn't stand the test of time, because 1994 is when everybody started going to the longer shorts.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like the nut huggers on the court.
Well, yeah, because Shaq would be dragging his fucking dick 3 feet behind him off the court. You can't shoot that. That's a different movie in those shorts, bro. You think Shaq's fitting in John Stockton's short shorts?
Oh,
that
God.
ain't happening. He couldn't fit one nut in those motherfuckers.
John Stockton barely fit in John Stockton's shorts.
Exactly. Exactly.
But I absolutely think this stands the test of time, and I'm sorry that I even doubted my own decision to review this movie. I really, really liked it.
Yeah, the only thing I will really say at all is, one, there's no soundtrack. A basketball movie needs a soundtrack to me.
Yeah.
And two, the audio dubbing they did in post for the basketball scenes and shit, where they're like, hey, over here, pass me the ball. Oh, I got you. That was garbage.
Yeah, that wasn't great.
So it actually took away from the basketball playing.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was thinking the same thing. There's even one scene where they pan to it's during the Indiana game where they pan to Happy in the stands, and he just goes, yes!
It's so fucking distracting.
No,
when it happens.
And again, you don't have to be a basketball fan to notice that. Overdubs are overdubs. Right. And, if you notice it, it's super distracting.
Exactly.
And it was very noticeable. So I'll give you that. That was the one thing I didn't like about it too.
Everything else, though, I liked it.
No, me too.
I'm sticking with it. It was an accurate portrayal of 1994 basketball. You either shot a 3-pointer or you dunked it.
Yeah.
Mid-range did not exist.
Nope. Nope, not at all.
So, yeah, I loved it.
All right, me too. Well, if that's all you got, that's all I got. For Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1994's Blue Chips.
Hold up. You didn't hear what I said. Somebody in here owes my ass $100.